stuff, isn't it? Corey S. Powell, former NASA scientist and editor of the Scientific America, says at least 30,000 species vanish every year from human activity, which means we are living in the midst of one of the greatest mass extinctions in Earth's history. He's telling us that there are 30,000 species every year that are vanishing off planet Earth. And he's talking about little microorganisms and all sorts of stuff. We are finding ourselves destroying this earth. Now, much more could be said about this, but we are seeing it take place in our world today. It's synchronizing with all these other signs that the Bible gives us. Sign number 16, we only have 3 to go. Revelation 16, verse 13 and 14, the spiritualism sign. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles. We find in our world today that more and more people are getting involved in occult beliefs. It's becoming more and more important in people's lives. It's becoming a part of the popular means of fulfilling one's spiritual needs. They've rejected God, rejected Christianity, so we go off to the occult through tarot cards or mediums or star signs or whatever. And it's given to us through television, movies, books. And I myself, many years ago, went to a tarot card reader. Check this out. And she told me many things about my life that nobody else could tell me. There was a real power in this system. But you need to be here for our last lecture, night number 10. It's called Spirits, Demons and the Dead, to find out who is the power behind spiritualism and what happens when people die. But things like Harry Potter and different books and movies are drawing young people and educating them into things like the occult. Just for one example, Harry Potter, in his so-called tremendous success. Notice his statement here. It says, Harry is an absolute godsend to our cause. An organisation like ours thrives on new blood. Who said that? High Priest Egan, First Church of Satan, Salem, Massachusetts. He said these so-called fun movies and fun games are indoctrinating and teaching people about witchcraft and the occult, and they find themselves in the wrong church. In England, the Pagan Federation has reported that they have had to hire a youth official for the first time in history. The spokesperson said when questioned as to why the increased curiosity, she replied, we always ask the new interest why they came to call, and she said they were led there by a book like Harry Potter. You'd be very, very careful, friends, what you are feeding your children, whether it's from God or whether it could be from the enemy. 2 more signs to go there. Our second last sign, sign number 17, is the scoffer's sign. In 2 Peter 3, verses 3 to 4, there shall come in the last days. What days? The last days. Scoffers walking after their own lust. What are they saying? And saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. Scoffers in the last days saying, you guys have been saying Jesus is coming for years. He hasn't turned up. He's not coming back. And they scoff at religion and they scoff at truth and righteousness. But friends, without realizing it, these very, very same people are actually fulfilling Bible prophecy when they scoff and when they laugh. Because it says in the last days, this will take place. And many are laughing, many are scoffing at the things that are taking place before our very eyes today. And this leads us to our last sign. Sign number 18, the Noah's Day sign. The Noah's Day sign. We find here that the Bible tells us in Matthew 24, verse 37 to 39, but this is Jesus himself speaking here, but as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Jesus is simply saying, as it was in Noah's day, it will be when I come back. In Noah's day, there was 4 main points of what the world was like. In Genesis chapter 6 and verse 5, it says, the imagination and the thoughts of people's hearts was evil continually. It also says in verse 11, Genesis 6 verse 11, that violence filled the earth. We are seeing that in our world today. It also tells us that they scoffed at Noah. Noah preached for 120 years that a flood would come. Get on board the ark was his call. but they scoffed and they laughed and they mocked. And the main point that God brings out, that Jesus Christ brings out here, is that they knew not their condition. You know, friends, many in our world today, they don't know the condition that they're in. They don't know the signs of the times. They don't know what's about to take place. Just as those in Noah's day had no idea a flood was coming, even though they were warned for 120 years, they laughed, they scoffed, they mocked. But when that rain began to fall, things began to change. People decided to get on board that ark, but sadly it was too late. They knew not their condition. They knew not the time. They understood not what was taking place around the world. And many are like this man upon the screen tonight. They are totally oblivious to what's taking place. They're about to walk down the manhole of life. They're busy walking along with their iPod stuck in their ear and their bag of goodies on their back, and they don't realise what's taking place in this world. They are unprepared for the second coming of Jesus Christ. How is it with your life tonight, friend? How is it with your life tonight? Are you like that man walking along life, iPod stuck in your ears, oblivious to the signs that are all around us that are telling us that Jesus Christ is soon to return? Are you oblivious to the things of the world, of what's taking place in our world today? Yeah, Jesus said his second coming would be just like it was in the days of Noah. They knew not until the flood came and took them all away. Yeah, friends, the last few grains of sand in the hourglass of time are now trickling through. And many are like those in Noah's day, unprepared. God is calling to get on board the ark of salvation. Friend, God is calling to you today. God is calling to your heart tonight. He's saying to you and I, get on board the ark. Take on salvation. Don't put it off. Don't be like those in Noah's time who found when the rain came, it was too late. God is telling us today through His Word, through these signs, that Jesus Christ is soon to come back to this world. All these different signs are synchronizing as never before. Yes, we've had earthquakes before, we've had wars before, there's been some famines, but never before have we seen these signs synchronizing in our world as we do right now. But there's also a positive side to these signs, because Jesus simply said in Luke 21 verse 28, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up. He says, look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draws nigh. Yes, these signs can be frightening. They can be negative in some ways. But in the flip side of the coin, they are positive, because the Bible's telling us that they are telling us that Jesus Christ is soon to come to this earth. Friends, Jesus Christ is coming back to this world. He's coming back to this world very soon. No one knows the day or the hour. But the signs are telling us that we should be preparing our lives to meet Jesus Christ when He comes back to this earth. But what does it mean when the Bible says that Jesus is going to return? When the disciples ask that question, what will be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? What does it mean when Jesus Christ comes back? How will He come back? Why will He come back? Well, friend, you need to be here for our next lecture. It's entitled The Rapture and the Second Coming. How will Jesus come back to earth? What will happen when Jesus returns? And how will this affect you and me? May God bless you, and we'll see you in our next lecture.